The impact of publishing technologies on society is something that can be easily seen throughout history. The impacts of technologies such as the printing press really exemplify what the impact of publishing is on society, especially in the case of creative industries. The printing press is arguably the most significant technology to come in the pre-1900 era because of how far-reaching its impacts on society were. This invention has been credited greatly because of the way in which it was able to enhance the way in which information was distributed, and greatly increase the presence of books all across Europe and across the world. The fact that the same basic technology is still in use today to a wide extent is really a testament to its influence. However, in the creative industries, this technology was still somewhat limited. Though the technology allowed for many text-based creative works to be published and produced, and this was utilized to a great extent in the pre-1900 period, where many famous fictional works were published and distributed using this technology. However, this is not as useful as our post-2000 example because of the limitations that were presented. For example, the printing press was initially quite limited in what it could print, and so the wider creative industries were not able to utilize this technology for things such as art, as it was limited to the text-based factor of these industries. However, the more modern technology is much more effective in doing this. The modern technology of digital light projection has allowed for a much greater means for publishing, and has allowed for a considerable growth in creative industries through many ways, such as how people are able to display much more complex ideas and are able to demonstrate these ideas in a much more wider audience. As you can see from the footage in this year's Vivid Festival in Sydney, this form of publishing is both more vibrant and much easier to understand than reading words off a page. This also has an advantage, as using symbols and icons makes this form of publishing much more accessible and can be understood very quickly by the people who are examining it. This form of publishing is also capable of distributing information outside of the creative industries, as can be seen by this interactive display designed by the Australian Bureau. The projections that can be seen here show how this technology is really able to stand up on its own and can be much more accessible than reading off a page. It also allows for a much greater sense of freedom and creativity in how it is able to present and publish this information. It is done in such a way where it is seen by many, and when it is used in a more artistic fashion, as was seen earlier, it is able to hold many different levels of meaning for the viewer and can be understood on all of these different levels. People are able to interpret the artistic vision of the creator in many different ways. The form of publishing presented through light projection has some considerable advantages over the technology of the printing press, because of how diverse and adaptable it is as a technology. However, the actual impact of this technology is still somewhat limited, as yet, because of the scale in which it occurs and the requirements for it to be presented. While it can be seen to be effective on a smaller scale, as will be seen soon, it is not exactly convenient for all people yet in terms of cost and still scale. This form of publishing through digital projection, however, has had a much more profound impact on the creative industries of today, through the way in which it has enabled these industries to break down boundaries and continue to expand the way in which they are able to publish their thoughts, works, and opinions in a much more accessible way. While the printing press can be seen to have done the same in history, the more modern technology definitely demonstrates how this technology was able to amplify this industry in many ways.
But what if we went a little closer? Let's zoom in.
So, to conclude, when examining how these technologies have shaped the creative industries of their time, it is obvious to see that both the printing press and digital light projections have both revolutionized the way in which the creative industries function. However, it can be argued that the printing press is the more influential technology simply because of how it has had more time to adapt and develop, becoming strongly integrated into our society, as is reflected through its use in modern times. While this may apply to the digital projections seen above in the future, the greater influence still has to rest with the printing press, simply because of how well it has been able to adapt and embed itself into our society. We have become dependent on this technology, and it has allowed the creative industries to publish in many ways never seen before.